It makes me sad that some politicians use trans kids like me to get votes from people who hate me just because I exist. God made me. God loves me for who I am, and God does not make mistakes.
Pulling him down to the ground, face down, and putting your knee on the neck for that amount of time is just uncalled for.
My opinion was that the force was excessive.
I don't know what kind of improvised position that is. So that's not what we train.
That in no way, shape, or form is anything that is by policy. It's not part of our training, and it is certainly not part of our ethics or our values.
So the blue wall of silence is the code of conduct for many officers around the country, which means that you do not report anything negative about those that you work with. You might see someone being beaten, but that blue wall of silence means that you remain silent, that you might help falsify a report, or you might refuse to report that individual's behavior to those higher up in command. And so it's like a no snitching code for cops. Those who consider themselves to be quote unquote good officers don't say a word when they see officers engaged in misconduct. And so one of the chants that we say on the streets is no good cops in a racist system. And that's one of the reasons why.
When Mr. Floyd was no longer offering up any resistance to the officers, they could have ended the restraint.
It has to be objectively reasonable. We have to take into account circumstances, information, the threat to the officer, the threat to others, and the severity of that. So that is not part of our policy. That is not what we teach, and that should be condoned.
I think that it's interesting to see so many police officers testifying on behalf of the prosecution, including the chief of police for Minneapolis. I think that that's very unusual to see a chief taking the stand, especially in a trial that's being watched around the world, and unequivocally stating that Derek Chauvin violated departmental policy and that he did not have to engage in the level of force that he used against George Floyd. I was happy to see that. For Chief Arredondo, he is intentionally trying to set the tone for the department in terms of the standards, the expectations, what he will and won't tolerate. I also think that this has a lot to do with the significance of this case and knowing that it is not a case that can be swept under the rug, like what happens under normal circumstances when someone is killed. But this is a case that has drawn worldwide attention. And so they have to step forward and do something different. One thing that I caution my network about or caution them against as they're watching this trial is making sure that they are not centering whiteness to the extent possible, that they're not placing white witnesses on a pedestal and discounting the voices of Black people, discounting the sacrifices that they're making, because the Black people who testified, they still live in that community. They still have to walk down the street. They still may have to face retaliation from officers and others who saw them testify. And so the stakes are much higher for them, yet people tend to take their testimony and the struggle and the sacrifices that they've had to go through for granted. If officers had been speaking up, Derek Chauvin probably would not have been on the force to even kill George Floyd. I mean, he had over a dozen complaints against him. He's also been involved in other deadly force incidences as well. He had no business being a trainer within the Minneapolis Police Department. And so if that blue wall of silence had crumbled before this trial, George Floyd and many other people would likely still be alive. So there is still so much work to do as far as rooting out systemic racism and white supremacy within the Minneapolis Police Department, as well as many others. I'm not sure that through one trial, as a matter of fact, I doubt through one trial we're going to get there. But it is a start in terms of giving people an inside look into the decision-making process that officers go through regarding the use of force, what the policies say, and how it often does not match their actions on the street, particularly when they encounter Black people, Native people, and other people of color.
Oh my God, it's like 80 degrees out. Why are you wearing pants? Take them off. My pants. You want me to take my pants off? That's so hot. You're gonna have a heat stroke. I'm really worried for you. Take them off. Honestly, I'm just really comfy right now, and for the purpose of modesty and my own personal comfort, I think I'll keep them on. Not concerned about heat stroke. I'm doing all right. Take them off. I'm really worried for you. Super duper worried. So I'm gonna make it so that you legally have to take your pants off. Not allowed to wear pants. Don't care what you have to say. You're not allowed. Just not. The reality of the situation is a little bit different, but it's just as ridiculous. If you didn't know, the French government is literally trying to put a ban on Muslim women under the age of 18 from wearing hijabs. France is literally stripping women of their freedom of choice to wear what they want, cover themselves how they want. The age of consent in France is literally 16, and you're telling Muslim women that they have to be 18 to decide how they want to dress? You didn't know, the French government is literally trying to put a ban on Muslim women under the age of 18 from wearing hijabs. France is literally stripping women of their freedom of choice to wear what they want, cover themselves how they want. Oh my God, it's like 80 degrees out. Why are you wearing pants? Take them off. My pants. You want me to take my pants off? That's so hot. You're gonna have a heat stroke. I'm really worried for you. Take them off. Honestly, I'm just really comfy right now, and for the purpose of modesty and my own personal comfort, I think I'll keep them on. Not concerned about heat stroke. I'm doing all right. Take them off. I'm really worried for you. Super duper worried. So I'm gonna make it so that you legally have to take your pants off. Not allowed to wear pants. Don't care what you have to say. You're not allowed. Just not.
Leave them alone. They're humans.
No, they're not.
Okay.
No, we're
Yeah,
not.
they are.
They're
They
Muslims.
are.
Muslims, they're here in our country, in our country, in our country.
We're here in this country.
Here we go.
I'm taping you. I'm taping you.
Kiss my
I was shocked, feel disgusting, feel like something wrong is gonna happen. Something big is gonna happen. Maybe she has a gun, maybe she has something big is gonna happen. It's not gonna be like, we're not gonna go out easy. And I start filming her.
I accept your apology.
I have friends that are
Yeah,
Muslims.
we've addressed that. I accept your apology. We'll deal with it.
My husband, he forgave her because in Islam this is like our part from our religion to forgive and give her another chance.
On 17th Street by the bridge.
You don't come
By
in
the
and scare
bridge.
people. How do you come
And
in
there's
scare
Muslims
people?
here
they're
that are
scary. Yeah,
threatening
they're so
Muslims.
My opinion that there should be an investigation. Whether or not DOH is going to do that, we'll see. But I believe we'll be putting the facts in motion for them to do that investigation because it's very disturbing what was happening.
God, you're ugly. No wonder people hate you.
They do hate us. I know.
Israelis rule.
I know they do.
Israelis rule. Israelis rule because you guys are ugly as
Oh, I know. It's so scary.
yeah. Israelis rule. They rule.
It happens way too often than is seen in public, than is seen in social media. Nahla's story is definitely not unique. It is unique in the sense that she pulled out her camera, and we're very glad that she did. The easiest thing to do is, I think, during Friday congregations, during Ramadan, especially now, we advise people to hire police to stand at the prayers. Some departments will do it for free, but otherwise it's not that much of an expense. There's a police officer in front of our mosque right now at the start of Ramadan as a deterrent, but it's definitely a time where our folks need to be visual, need to really keep their eyes open.
My daughter here, she's like, Mama, you make it big, and why you make it big, and why you post it? And I told her, this is not about me, it's about the hijab, the Islam. Yeah, so when you grow up, you're gonna wear the hijab too, so you feel safe. You have to feel safe.
So thank you, Nahla, for being that model for people like my daughter, who's 2 years old, like my mother, who wears a hijab and goes, so you make them stronger. And thank you for that.
동양인이 너무 무서워요, 여러분. 진짜 미국인들이 저한테 와서 막 기침하는 사람들도 있어요. 일본 와서 기침하면서 졸라 막 욕하고 웃고. 진짜 좀 심하거든요. 진짜 이 해외에 계신 분들 조심해야 될 것 같아요. 여기 인종차별 지금 진짜 장난 아니에요. 저희한테 와가지고, 그러니까 아무 일도 없다가 갑자기 마스크 쓰고 걷다가 우리한테 와가지고 마스크 벗고 우리한테 기침 졸라 하면서 막 쪼개고 막 뭐라 하지, 막 차이니스 막 이러고 욕하고 저희한테 막 중국인이라고 욕하고. 일단 인종차별 말이 안 돼요 지금. 진짜. 그리고 개 무서워요. 이게 막 자꾸 장난친다니까요. 저희한테 막 하루에 한 번씩은 거의 있어 진짜. 예, 진짜 인종차별이 진짜 저는 처음 당해봤어요. 맨날 막 좀 심하고 겁줘요. 그냥 막 겁주는 사람들 많아요. 저 그래서 가끔 일부러 유니폼 입고 다녀요. 유니폼. 이 유니폼 입으면 얘네들이 무슨 선수 때문에 여기로 왔나 보다 해서 그렇게 건드리지 않는데 일반 옷 입고 그냥 걸어다니면은 에라이 하면서 막 다가와서 욕받고 도망갑니다.
Nobody should ever feel, that their safety or their livelihoods are in danger. They should never feel threatened. They should never feel bullied just because of their race. I mean, it's just the most ridiculous thing. Yesterday, we became aware of a situation where our players, when they were standing outside of our office taking breaks in between their practices, or sometimes when they're walking to our office here in the city of Dallas, were confronted by numerous people on numerous occasions who made really racist remarks to them and threats to our players, and really uncalled for hatred.
I do not like spending my free time asking adults to make good choices. My name is Kaya Shapley. I love ballet, math, science, and geology. I spend my free time with my cats, chickens, FaceTiming my friends, and dreaming of when I will finally meet Dolly Parton. I do not like spending my free time asking adults to make good choices. I've been having to explain myself since I was 3 or 4 years old. Texas legislators have been attacking me since pre-K. I am in 4th grade now. When it comes to bills that target trans youth, I immediately feel angry. It's been very scary and overwhelming. It makes me sad that some politicians use trans kids like me to get votes from people who hate me just because I exist. God made me. God loves me for who I am, and God does not make mistakes. You should be careful how you treat the least of these. Please just listen to me, hear me. Try to educate yourselves. Try to understand everybody. Bullying is bad. Please stop. Don't make bad choices. It's never too late to turn it around. has been giving everything she has to stand up for me. With these new things y'all are trying to do, we both are having to advocate for each other because you are now targeting a great mom and a great nurse. My mom needs her nursing license to take care of me and my siblings. I want to say thank you to those of you who are sticking up for kids like me. By the time I am in college, you will be celebrated in the history books.